What's poppin', everybody? You already know who it is. Your boy Karan from the World of Q. This is the World of Q podcast, and today we got a heavy hitter on the joint today. My boy, man, the great Hus. What's up, bro?
What's going on, man? I just want to say I appreciate you having me over to your podcast.
Yeah, man.
Definitely
I appreciate you
looking
fucking too.
forward to. And actually, this is my first ever interview since I've been in the business, and it's been about 7 years. Yeah.
Nigga.
I'm just real private about things, but I don't mind opening up to you because obviously you've been there for the development of a lot of this.
Facts, man. I remember you telling me like years and years ago, even years before you started, your club business, like, that's something you really wanted to get into. And one thing I wanted to say, like, what made you think being a club owner was that?
Well, for starters, I'm still just a promoter. I'm working on owning my own club. I want to be clear on that. But the reason that I wanted to go in that route because I was so closely connected with the music. As you know, I started with managing the group of the artists. Buckset Entertainment was just a group of rappers. And as time goes on, people go different ways, and life really hits you. So I actually lost the artists. Didn't lose them, but they had different focus. So I still had the Buckset name, and we did an event. There were 4 or 5 other groups and some comedians. And none of the artists associated with Buckset had showed up that night. But we still had a
Mm.
crowd. The other artists performed. And at the end of the night, nobody was tripping that the Buckset rappers weren't there. But it was still a Buckset event. So that gave me the idea that, like, yo, I can do this. I can throw these events and I can make bread from it, legitimate money too. At the time, I was making the transition from some street things, statute of limitations up, but some street things that we were a part of, and it was a legitimate way to make money and build capital to be able to build my business.
Man, especially without having to look over your shoulder, man. Like, you're gonna have competition everywhere, legitimately or illegitimately. But it's like illegitimately, people are looking to hurt you, take you
Yes,
from the place.
yes,
Legitimately, they want
it's
to hurt you, but it's like I don't want you to be better than me.
absolutely. There's a lot of competition in the club business. There's a lot of competition in the nightclub game. But yes, it does not have the same rules as the streets. So
Mm.
when you cross someone, they don't necessarily tend to deal with the same penalties that you would have to deal with if you were doing, illegal activities. But it's extremely competitive. It's the rush of having your spot being the best spot that night when there's so many other things going on. I either want you to come to my shit or end up at my shit because I believe that
Mm.
I'm throwing the best party. You're gonna have the most fun. We specialize in entertainment. And what I mean by
So,
entertainment, that's
mm.
another thing I like to get to. Go ahead.
Nah, y'all didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, all right, yeah. Well, with entertainment, a lot of people like, well, what's the entertainment aspect of Buckhead? Entertainment is all facets. That may be booking certain DJs. That may be bringing certain artists in. That's special promotions that we're running that evening. It may be the way that we have the girls dressed or however they're gonna participate. It's an entire experience. Like, yeah, you could just go to the club and just turn up, just get high, just get drunk. I don't want to give you something that you're gonna remember. I want to give you something that's going to make you want to come back to our event, something that stands above. And that's the entertainment aspect of Buckset Entertainment. I probably like to think I'm a natural showman, even though I'm so private and never chose to be on stage when I was working with the artist. Face to face and hand to hand, I could definitely show you a good time. I just like seeing people have a good time. I love to entertain.
Yeah, facts. And I remember that's one thing I do know about you. Like, when people treat you good, like you'll treat them 10 times as better because
Oh,
it seems like you really get like a natural high off that.
I do because I mean life is hard enough. That's another reason I'm into the
Mm.
nightclub game. Life is hard enough. On your day to day, the experiences that you're going through, the condition of the world right now, a fucking
Mm.
pandemic, it's
Yeah.
like you already have enough difficulties going on. And my life has been hard. I experienced a lot of different things. Why would I make that harder for anybody else? Unnecessarily. If I don't like you, I'm just not gonna fuck with you. If I like you, I fucking love you. And I'm gonna go
Yeah.
above and beyond to show you that love. So not even that I could get anything back, maybe you can reciprocate that to someone else, kind of like paying it forward, like your own
Mm.
young boys one day, or your own group that you work with or whatever it may be. If anything that you could pick up from me is just spread that positivity forward. Spread it forward. Definitely.
So we just talking about the pandemic though, like, so how have you had to, because everybody, we seen major corporations shut down or they cutting mad loss, they losing billions, bro. So we already know like the nightclub business and the shit, the lounge business, the bar business, they took a hit. So how did you have to
Amazing.
adapt to that and readjust?
Well, I can
Especially
tell you
since
over
once
here
this
in
is over too.
Pennsylvania, like things that are open to the public, they have a limited capacity and they have um like certain regulations that you have to go by. We have a private establishment, which is even without the pandemic, it's not open to anybody. It's almost a private social club. So that like it's not a regular open 9 to 2 club. We were running after hours like 12 to 5 or 12 to 6 in a BYOB situation. It affected it at first. I'll tell you, when it first hit through March, nobody was coming out. Even early parts of April, because people were scared. They never experienced anything like this before. But after that time had went on, I could tell you it was 420, and I had a 420 event every year. This was my third one consecutively, and I really wanted to move forward with it. And my crew was like, "Yeah, let's see what happens." And I did the event, and it wasn't a huge turnout, but there were about like 85 people there in the middle of the pandemic. And I'm like, wow, man, these people are really tired of being inside. They really ready to step back out. And that following weekend, we just kicked it off and it had just continued to compound. So I can tell you up until the last weekend in July, there were about 260 people there. And this is a disclaimer, it's at your own risk, it's at your own discretion. But everyone associated with me and my group, I could vouch for us. No one had been sick, no one had tested positive, and no immediate members of the family of any of the members of the group or any of the workers had gotten sick. So that's why we chose to move forward. We're willing to take the risk ourselves because it's the lifestyle we associated with. But I didn't want to risk anyone else's health or well-being, out there in the middle of this. So we were very selective with what we did. You can't really practice social distancing in the club. I'm not even gonna bullshit you because people want to dance. They're sharing blunts. They passing bottles. It's just down to how you wanted to do it. But it was difficult at first because for the first, I would say like 6 or 7 weeks, it was a ghost town. Nobody was coming out. Nobody was making any moves. And we're still not all the way there yet, but things have turned around with the heat, man. People just tired of being there.
That's a fact, bro. And like just off of GP, like, I notice this when I'm going food shopping, like it's virtually impossible to social distance, whether it be a club, the supermarket, the gym, walking down the street. It's like you can socially distance in the bank because
Yeah,
the
because
bank
you
is
can get
always
to
crowded.
6 feet. But I mean, come on, man. Like I can understand the mask and trying to social distance, but in the first place, unless it's somebody that you're close to or you're out with or related to, like you're not gonna be all up on the motherfucker anyway. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like you're not gonna be all up on
yeah,
somebody's back regardless. So, I mean, you just gotta take necessary precautions, but it's subjective down to the person. Fortunately, like for people my age and even more so your age, it hasn't affected them, especially with the mortality rate. And that's primarily who's coming out. Like, there ain't no senior citizens showing up to the club. There's probably
yeah.
not even anybody over 40 years old going there. So it's like I felt like the risk that I was presenting for the people was low. And that's not to say anything couldn't happen, but to my knowledge and knock on wood, nothing has happened to this point.
That's heavy, bro. And you just always, I heard you say earlier about you being a private club owner. Um,
Yes.
has that affected how they have they tried to finesse ways around saying, hey, yo, I know we can't really be in this shit, but yo, we can come down and you make sure y'all close y'all shit down, or especially you
Well,
being
all
a young
right.
black owner, you know what I'm saying, business
Yeah,
owner.
with that, it's subjective as well. Like you want to, and this might sound crazy to niggas, but you want to be familiar in this business with your local law enforcement. Like the cops,
Mm,
Philadelphia is divided by district. So they will kind of, if you know the right people, they'll give you a heads up, like, yo, they're looking at your spot, or you're drawing too much attention, or we have a feeling that something might happen, blah blah blah. But No, outside of one incident, I could tell you they never shut us down. They never shut us down. There was one night throughout the pandemic, sometime in May. I remember it was Nikki's birthday. There was a girl who was too drunk. We had to put her outside because she was on some extra shit. Security put her outside. And she like called the cops. Like the false claim is always, oh, they got a gun. That's just to get the cops over there.
Mm.
You know? Now our guys wasn't
Yeah.
available, so it was some other guys, and they basically wanted us to, they couldn't tell us to disperse, and they didn't have a right to come in because they didn't have a warrant for anything. But they were like, we had to adhere to whatever guidelines. And since they didn't see the exact number of people that we had, we did send some people out, but some people were able to stay. And like law enforcement really hasn't been an issue right now. But that's not to say like once things open back up, they won't be keeping the record of. But there is a clause for private properties, private business. These are not commercial properties that anyone could just enter. These are private properties. Like I said, we have a private social club, So it's a little bit different. Like if this is a public setting, oh man, you just pick up from where we were at.
Right. So we got a little technical issue that we got situated, but back to what Hus was talking about, his club business. I wanted to ask you, like, is there any parallels between being a club owner and being a manager of rappers?
Yes, there is. I always say this. I would like to say it's more tedious, but this is how I look at it. I love managing the artists. But artists are people change, they have opinions, they have real life situations. When you manage a club, the club is a building. The building will be there. The building does not move. The building doesn't have feelings. So you don't have to deal with, the personalities. And as opposed to like, all right, when you're a manager of artists, you facilitate for the artist. So everything that you're doing is for their well-being to advance their career. It advances your career with their success. With this, you're basically, depending on your level of management, you have people who answer to you. So they have to facilitate and cater to your expertise and what you know about the situation and what you think is best to move forward. With the artist, one day a guy might be beefing with his girl and he maybe can't make a show or he can't make it to the studio or he doesn't have someone to watch his kids. These are real life situations. Now, I'm not saying that you got to be like, fuck your family and put all your goals and dreams in front of that. But I will say the people who work the hardest make the most sacrifices. And that usually ends in success. Even if your talent isn't above what your competition is, if your drive is, you got them. If you're willing to work harder than these niggas, you got them. All day. So it was, I would say, the nightclub business is very tedious though, especially if the clientele is familiar with you. So you got to facilitate and cater to so many different people in that sense. Like you might have your drunk boy trying to tell you about this great idea that he has. At the same time, you're trying to get everything ready for an artist to perform. And this is your homie from forever. And you don't want to disrespect him or make him feel slighted, but he also has to understand that this is my place of work, So it's that, but I love it. I love dealing with people. I like figuring out and making a way when there is no way. And in the middle of the chaos and the confusion, it's actually all organized, Things gonna go whichever way, but yeah. I like the nightclub just because the building won't change. If it changes, it's on me, as opposed to dealing with individuals.
And like speaking of like change and things, whatnot, like things are gonna be fucked up even when they go back to normal. And I'm speaking just for like, rappers, comedians, so to speak, people who have to make the majority of their income on tour. And they're shutting down tour for the rest of the year and maybe going into next summer. So how do you keep the artists that you're managing, how would you keep them on their P's and Q's? Like, yo, maybe you should get on Instagram and start.
Right now, I was saying this to one of my homies. I imagine if Tupac was alive during this pandemic, he'd have probably recorded about 20 albums. Like as far as artists, I think they should be locked in and focus on
Yeah.
making the best music that they possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
This is your a great opportunity to get refocused because you, especially in the beginning, you had to be in. You know, if you have to be in and you only could be around a certain amount of people, the perfect place for that is the studio. If you're an artist, you should be working on your music to become the best version of you because you have less distractions. You
Yeah.
have less distractions. And even mainstream artists right now, recently there was some more projects released, but like early when it started, I'm just like, damn, what y'all niggas doing? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, I felt like they should be working at this time. And if you are an up and coming artist, yo, this is your time to shine. This is your time to grind. You may not be able to do it on the regular show tip. You're probably not going to catch on those performances. But what you do have is people using social media more than ever. Because you're stuck with less, they're looking at their phone more. This is your chance to get noticed. Do
Mm-hmm.
something different that will make you stand out. Be true to yourself and not what you see. I love I love all the shit, all the nigga shit, everything. I love that shit. But that isn't
Mm-hmm.
ultimate success. Those things are good to have and they're good to work towards, but there are things beyond that. We'll get into that another time. Just for right now, artists, if you are watching this, please work hard. Please get in the studio. There's like there's less shit going on. Get in the studio and make really good music right now. This is the perfect time.
So I see like the rap game to me is kind of changing a little bit. It's sort of a renaissance, so to speak. You know, we seen Hove somewhat do it, like when he had reasonable doubt. Him, Dame, and Biggs, they independently created that. We seen Fifth do it before he got his deal. We seen Nipsey do it. Why don't you think more artists, instead of waiting for a big label, why don't you think more artists put more of their money that they try to make, whether from day job or whatever, to actually invest in the studio? Or to actually get their own studio with their homies, or yo,
I,
let's
I yo, I would say like that's the best move an artist could make if you get any type of bread first, because then you got unlimited creative space. Even going back to the early days of the Bucks at artists, some of the best music before they got into the professional studios was the shit they was making at Ice Crib because they was in the studio.
yeah.
Studio was in his room in his house, so they were constantly working. They were constantly there smoking, joking, whatever, and they were working together and making some of their best music. Um, like the audio quality may not have been as good, but just the raw, uncut talent, it was there. The first thing an artist should do is get a studio or try to get some type of connections where you have unlimited access. And not only that, studio is a way for you to make money. Now, it is difficult. Like, I'm a little bit older, you guys. So in our era, talent was the thing that shone above. It wasn't oversaturated. A lot of niggas rap, but today, a lot of niggas rap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Rap wasn't
more
people.
than ever.
Uh, yeah, like rap wasn't even something that you would mention as a job, as what you did. You just rap. There were certain motherfuckers who was rappers. Now, like you even meet females who like, yeah, my son raps. Advertising their son as a rapper, trying to reach out. Um, no, you just don't sell yourself short and stop doing what you see other motherfuckers do. The weirdest motherfuckers is the ones who's on top. Look at the rainbow hair snitch. Look at Young Thug playing gay. Look at Uzi androgynous. You know what I mean? Like all of that.
Yeah.
Those are the weirdest motherfuckers. They make good music, but they like they were true to themselves in excess, and they were able
Mhm.
to achieve those things. But of course, they all started by locking in on that studio. You got to
Yeah.
be in the studio constantly. If you ain't never slept in the motherfucking studio and got up rapping in the same shit that you had on yesterday, your grind ain't there. You really need to do that. Lock in with someone who is just more than a personal, like a business level. You're paying this nigga just for the studio time. Lock in with somebody who truly, because there are a lot of engineers out there. There are a lot of producers out there who looking for artists who are serious. Lock in with them. Link up with them. Dre and Snoop. You know what I'm saying? You like lock in with them, link in, and use that to create.
Mm. Yeah, and like I said, I always noticed that myself too. Getting in the YouTube business, slowly but surely working my way up, branding myself. And even when I was kind of dabbling in the comedy before the pandemic hit, you kind of see like, yo, there's so many talented people, whether they rap, comedians, or the YouTube personalities that don't have it, but they got it, but they don't have the work ethic. There's a lot of untalented motherfuckers that got millions of subscribers, but you can't shit on their work ethic. Their work ethic is unmatched. This is why they got there.
Absolutely, you have to be relentless. Yo, I got into the game, even with because when I started with the rappers doing the managing, most promoters get started when you're like 17, 18, 19. So I didn't get into it till I was about 26 years old. I was way later in the game. So like some of the things, there were times where I'm out with a group passing out flyers and shit, trying to get my shit popping. And I might have a couple racks on me. And I'm trying to hand this flyer to some young fly nigga who looking at me like, nah, boy, get out of here. Almost in a sense, like he's and like, yo, I'm already good. I have bread. I probably have more cake than the nigga who was trying to play me. However, instead of copying the attitude with every nigga, I just pass it right on to the next one. That's the drive. That's the focus. That's the relentlessness that you gotta have. You know, while they're asleep. I can remember one of my first big events at the Red Wine. I had a partner with this. Yo, we went out. I want to say for 27 nights straight. 27 nights, every single night. My shorty hated this. Every single night for 27 nights, we was at every club in the city. You know what I'm saying? Just event after event after event. Everybody shit. And it was because we were kicking our shit off. And with that type of grind, it was our first big event over here. I think we did 275, which is not super heavy, but it's good for coming from nothing. We were both getting started on our own, you know. Yeah, it's just the grind. You gotta outwork motherfuckers. They could already be the man. A nigga could be the man, but once you think you the man, because I've fallen into it too. Once you think you got this shit, and like, all right, we bombed them last week. So next week, we don't even gotta go as hard. And then your shit is light next week because you're going off last week.
And just down from there, pretty much.
That shit is over. We looking forward to the next. And we're gonna go just as hard. And if you always go hard, it's another tip. If you always go hard, that becomes the norm.
Yeah.
It's not like you putting. It may seem like a large effort from someone else. Like, damn, them niggas going in extra for that joint. But no, this is how we always go because we're relentless because we truly want to be the best.
Yeah, most definitely.
I still have a lot of work to do, but I'm also letting you know I will outwork you. I will not quit, regardless of all the different type of situations that happen. You got to press forward, and the same applies with music. Music is a lot different. Their music, like I can't. I'm not gonna sit up here and say I know exactly the way for an artist to break into the mainstream because even though I've had successful local artists, you know, I've never had an artist that broke to the next level. I haven't linked those keys up. However, after the time and the connections and the resources that become available to you from working in the nightlife, had I taken on an artist now, I could probably start from a platform that was beyond what we achieved before. You know, that's experience.
So it's pretty much knowing what you know now. Like, is you have one foot in the door, one foot out, or are you completely out of being a manager?
This is what I always said about that. Yo, I love music. Music is the reason that I even work in the nightclub business. You know, music is so powerful, bruh. I learned this from a DJ. Just a little side story. He's like, yo, anytime niggas fight in the club or they look like they getting rowdy, I just put on Michael Jackson. Like, and he'll play on an old school Michael Jackson song, and niggas first they'll look around, and then like if anybody dancing and moving, yo, it'll dissipate the whole situation. That's the power of music. Michael Jackson ain't there. He's been dead for 10 years. The song is fucking 30 years old, but just because of that music, it could dead a situation. So that shows you the power of music. So I love music. I would always said if I tried to work with another artist, one, I would be more established in my situation than now I am. The second part of it, they would have to not impress me, but they have to show me there's something in them that's worth me investing my all into their success.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a manager of an unsigned artist, you do not fucking get paid until that nigga gets paid. And if you have a group, there's even less to spread around.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you're really doing it from the muscle. When we were coming up, like the first couple shows, niggas is like asking us to pay to be a part of the show. And then our fans would come see us and they're charging our fans. So I'm like, hold on. How does this benefit the artist's career? This benefit this promoter or whoever thought this benefit his pockets. And these niggas promising us a bunch of nothing that's never gonna get us nowhere. You feel me? If you can't pay an artist to perform, if the artists don't have enough buzz to generate revenue for you, just let the nigga perform for free and just
Yeah.
tell him to bring his fans. I'm not gonna charge him. I know he ain't got shit. He's an unsigned artist, you know. But I would be willing to work with an artist who showed me that this is the most important thing in their life. That every single day that I deal with them creating music and making the best songs and perfecting their game and advancing in their craft is all that they want to do. I have a certain things that I'm dedicated to. Now it's the nightlife business, but there are others in the past that if I don't see you matching that level, I'm not interested in you because if you just think you got it, you're never gonna get it. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta always want it. Even
Yeah.
when you do have it. You can't settle then.
I
You
was telling
can't
somebody the other day, you always gotta be Meek when he had the braids, as opposed to Meek when he got DC popping and all that.
exactly.
Just so to speak, like, you know, as far as the work ethic, people always ask, how can Kevin Hart continue to work night and day the way he does? It's like, bro, the nigga's been doing it for damn near 30 years. Like,
Hell
bro,
yeah.
why are we acting like paper soldiers and shit ain't come out
Yo,
years and
bro,
years ago?
I saw a movie with Ben Stiller from like motherfucking 2001. Kevin Hart was in it, and he had
Yeah,
like 2 lines. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you gotta fucking grind hard as
yeah.
shit. I don't even think they named him like he. Yeah, they probably put his name in the credits. But if you look at the movie, like Kevin Hart ain't featured as a part of the cast, and now he's
Yeah.
one of the biggest movie stars in the world. It's when you got that drive to want it, you're always gonna do it. Even when you up, even when you got a little money stashed up or you got a couple dollars and shit hitting right, um, you're still not satisfied because you want to move on to the next thing. You know, I
Right.
have things that far exceed the nightclub. However, I have to dominate this before I move on to that. It
Yeah.
has to be solidified to me that I have the number one after hour in Philadelphia. That's when I know I'm ready for the next phase. You know, that's when I know.
And a thing too, people always put this quick time frame on that. Like you said, you wanted to dominate that prior to going to the next phase in your life. People are like, well, I'm gonna do this for 5 years. I'm like, well, how do you know it's gonna take 5 years for you to be dominant? And if you are dominant within 5 years, don't you want to see how long that can last? Or, you know what I'm saying,
Exactly,
you know what I'm saying, like,
exactly.
what you can grow off of that prior
That's
to stepping into
attribute
the
that to youthful exuberance because there is no time. Like there's nothing that's gonna tell you, okay, this is the day. You know what I
hmm
mean? You're not gonna be like, all right, today is that 5th year of me achieving. No, fuck that. If you in it, you in it, and you're gonna move forward, and you just see yourself growing towards other things. Because once you do dominate, and once you do have everything in line, that's a well-oiled machine
hmm
that runs. Everything that you need for that to function is there because you already created that. You know, so you can move on to other things, and you won't even notice that like this is that 5 year plan or like 10 years I'm gonna own this and so I'm gonna have that. No, you just do the shit
hmm
without having a specific time frame set.
Well, specific time frames being set, bro. So now I understand you still connect with people from the past, artists you used to work with, being as though a lot of them were your brothers, you know what I'm saying, brothers in
Absolutely,
arms.
still my
It's like,
brother.
how do
Yeah.
you move off that being in a whole different light now when they still want you to be Huss from the neighborhood or Huss that's got to get me
Yo,
to
that
show
it
and do
kind of
this?
works out perfect, man, because
Yeah.
the people that I deal with now don't know that, Hush. They don't know about that. They only know me as this nightclub promoter slash now owner, you know? They don't know the other side of it. So it makes it easier. It's no homie hookups. It's no like it's not like I gotta feel a type of way because this my man for life. If we doing business or you here in this lifestyle, I'm gonna treat you accordingly. You know, and this is it's personal but impersonal because beyond the hours of whenever you're out, what they're doing ain't that don't got nothing to do with what goes on inside the building. And vice versa, when it's your homie and when you close to the nigga, what he has going on outside the building could come inside your shit. You know? It's way easier to you got niggas drawing, get them the fuck up out of here. Have security get them out of here. And if that's your homie on some drawing shit, it's like, oh man, Hush, you gonna do me like this, like I'm your man, like nigga,
Yeah,
if you my man, you gonna chill. You gonna be
exactly.
you
If
gotta
you my
respect
man,
what I
you
got
shouldn't
going
do to
on.
me like
And
this.
unfortunately, unfortunately, a lot of times your close ones feel entitled to certain things. I'm not gonna say no names, Cream. They feel entitled to certain things, and they come out and they join. And I love him, man. I love him. It's just
Shot the cream.
yeah, it's just regular like situation, man.
Yeah. And it's just like, bro, my thing is because, me stepping out on my own, the podcast and things like that, you kind of experience it even in the earlier stages before things even pop off. It's like, yo, I can't have you on all the time because I needed to grow. I want different
Right.
people, different perspectives, or people that challenge my perspective to
Yes.
get on here. People that I feel like I can learn from, that you can learn from. You feel me? So it's like,
Yes.
I can't be that Huss from the neighborhood, or even the Huss, the manager of rappers. I'm in
It's
this
not
business.
that anymore. Yeah, it,
You know what I'm
it,
saying?
it's not that anymore either. It's like yeah, artists call me from time to time. The best thing I could do is put you in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
You know, you could get some new fans. You could get better at your stage presence. You can learn how to rock these motherfuckers. That's the best thing I could do for you at this current situation. But niggas send me music. They try to sneak me into becoming their manager. They'll be hanging around. You know, I can connect you with DJs and stuff like that. Like, work with them. But it's just right now my focus isn't the artist, it's the building. And if that artist comes along, and he might have already come along. Just yesterday, a guy who performed with us over 18 months ago, Poppy Osto from Camden, his record was playing on Power 99. You know what I mean? And that was almost 2 years ago, and the nigga is still grinding on the shit. You feel me? And that was just a regular boom, you could come perform at my club type shit.
Yeah.
And he did his thing. I can't lie, like I remember the performance because we put so many artists on. But I did stay in contact with him, and he definitely had a song on Power 99 yesterday. Cosmic Kev shouting him out and all that. It was dope.
That's dope, man.
But
Like I said,
he
that must
grind,
be
he grind,
real.
he
Must be
grind.
real, like gratifying to hear like one.
100%, bro. Yo. I would love cause we've worked with some artists who have some success out here in Philadelphia. But I would love one of the, but they already had a name at a certain point. But when I started dealing with them, I would love to see cause at this point we've been doing the clubs for with me running this shit since about 15, so 5 years. I've been in the promo game since about 12, but from 15 to now, so 5 years. I know, and we worked nearly every weekend for 5 years. There's probably been periods where we had 2 months off here, a month off there. You know what I'm saying? But we worked, and majority of those times I had one artist. Before I was doing two artists, so I know we had to put over well over 100 artists. You know what I'm saying? Like give them an opportunity to perform. All local, Delaware. I think the furthest a nigga just happened to be coming up here from Chicago one time, and he booked with us in advance. We have all throughout the tri-state though, New York, Jersey, Delaware, Philly, all that. We work with artists from that, and the furthest one I can remember was Chicago. But yeah, and you love to see them take the next step. You love to see them to get to that point. Definitely, and that's where I do miss being a manager because
Mm.
we tried so hard, you know, to get to these points. We tried with the music. We tried extremely hard to be the best. And we were running the same time as the Migos. This is something I always look back. Yo, never give up your dreams, kids. Never quit. Never quit. I don't regret quitting because I wasn't an artist. But as a
Yeah.
manager, I can't push nothing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I can't. I need the artists to do their part. I
I
need them
can't run
to.
it more than you.
Yes, I can't. And I did, and I tried. I will put whatever up. I try to put you in any situation that the opportunity presents itself. But we didn't have as much resources back then. We didn't have the same connections that we do now. And now we're more mature, but I look at this as a young man's sport anyway. You know, you break
Yeah.
into the game when you 16, 17, 18, 20. Over 25 is possible, but you already established in life at that point. Jay-Z was 25 when Reasonable Doubt came out in 96. 25 turning 26.
Mm.
So like it's possible. Rick Ross, I think, was like 30 plus. But that's, you know,
Yeah.
he's a CEO and all that. But anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
like it's possible, but it's highly unlikely. Those are the rare cases. You know, so it's a young man's sport, and you kind of focus on the younger artists who are doing it because those are the ones who drive the sound. Like I couldn't tell you, you know, what the top 10 records of today are. I know them because they play in the club, but I couldn't tell you in order. But you know, when I was more in tune with what was going on, so you got to keep that young energy around you because they know what the fuck is going on, and the young ones are the ones driving the music. You know, when we was younger, we weren't fucking with no Big Daddy Kane. We wasn't really listening to, you know, a Tribe Called Quest. Wu-Tang was on, but they was coming more to the end of their run. You
Yeah.
know, that's so it like music was changing at the time, and we like I couldn't expect them to think what I think is hot to be the shit that drives music. You know,
Mm.
yeah,
That's all it is, man. Shit just grows and changes, bro.
it
But
definitely
like,
has changed. There are some artists who are talented, who are supremely talented, and there are some artists who I think sometimes get drawn into trying to sound like others. And if that's not your natural sound, it's not going to work for you. You
you
got to
might
be
get a record from it, but it's never gonna last.
no, because even that nigga you copying off, they'll have to change.
Yeah.
Then what you
Eventually.
gonna do?
Yeah. Then you asked out.
Like what? Create another like fake another identity. You, uh you can fake it till you make it, but that's rare cases too, and all that stuff gets exposed anyway. You know,
Yeah, that shit
the
comes to
artist
the
stick
wall.
to the music.
So my thing is it's kind of like a business partnership between you, the artist, and the manager.
Hell yeah, 100%. Yo, y'all gotta be on the same page. And I work with a group. Your artist has to be more honest with you than his spouse, than his
Mm.
family, than even the other guys that they work with, because that's another part of the ego. But if you lie to me and I don't know what the fuck is going on, I can't do everything I can for you. And you have to be personal with them because you want the best out of them. You need them in the right mind state to be there creating. It's their job to make the music. It's my job to put them on stage. It's my job to put them in meetings. It's my job to reach out to like push them in the right direction. You know, I
Mm.
always known, even had we hit, um, I wasn't qualified at that point to push them mainstream if that was what was going to come. Um, so I was always willing to part with them for better management, you know, if that point came. But then I would also be establishing the point of having broke artists, put them on the
Mm.
mainstream and got them to the next level. So everybody under that level would be coming to me and would have further advanced my game. And that just comes from your relationship with the artist. You gotta know everything. You gotta like I can't do for you if you got some fuck shit going on the side. You know, and
Mm.
before we ain't really care. We let a lot of shit, money, bitches, the streets, all that shit. Now, being older, your mindset is different, and I could guide it right way. You
Yeah.
know, I'm way more qualified for it. But they got to be your best friend. Yo, they gonna be mad at you. You gotta let them take out their anger on you so they can perform better. You gotta deal with all that shit. You know, and sometimes you gotta get on their ass too. You know, but unfortunately, with artists, we didn't have major fame, but we had a good buzz around. So you start to become more than what you were. And as that increases, especially working with a group, it becomes increasingly difficult to get them all on the same page. Because then it's like, yo, that nigga buzzing after that last show. Now I'm trying to get my shit up off this next thing, you know? As opposed to, okay, we pushing this specific artist. That's why he's featured right now. Your time will come, one, when you create more music. And secondly, if we could push this nigga, it'll be an easier lane for you. For me to push both of y'all at the same time when y'all both unknown, it's like y'all not a group. Y'all damn near was in competition. There were nice doing performances. Guys were competing with each other. And they brought the best out of them. It was good, but that shit carries over into other stuff.
Yeah. Because you eventually have to get off stage and then talk about that.
Right.
Somebody knows when you're coming for them, whether you're indirect or direct. Some people know, like, oh, you tried me just now. Okay,
Hell yeah. And nobody know you like your homies. You know that. They really know. Like maybe other motherfuckers might take it as, but your homies really know.
Right. So this.
But listen, I want to make this very clear. I would not have changed that experience for the world. That situation, managing the artist, even though it's difficult times, made me the person I am today and pushes me forward and cleared up a lot of things for me to be able to move forward, even in the nightclub business. You know?
Right.
Definitely.
That's a fact, man. And like I said,
and
we all need those experiences to be able to take that.
I never, oh yeah, we had hella fun, hella Molly, but hella fun. I never would give up on potentially managing another artist because I could do it in a better way. But that's not my main focus. Somebody have to come and sweep me off my feet. Like either this nigga trying mad hard to make me pay attention to him, or I hear his music or see his performance and see his passion. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it would take. I'm not closing the door on that, but I have other focus right now. But I love music. Music made all this shit possible. Definitely.
That's what's up, bro. Right now I can't see you. I don't know if you got your hand over the camera. Oh, there you go. So my thing is like we just putting people on, and I want to talk about like we spoke about some of the highs of it, but the lows of being a club owner. You know what I'm saying? Like you talked about.
Ain't shit sweet, bro. At the same sense, I mean, niggas watch the news. Mm-hmm. Nothing that happens at the after hours get reported on the news.
Yeah.
So it works unless it's major. But it works in your advantage, but it also works to your disadvantage, you know? So as the owner, anything that happens at this building falls on you. Anything negative, be it a shooting, a fight, an assault, a sexual assault, anything can fall back on you at this club, you know? It like once it's beyond and outside of your, DUI is everything. Once it's outside and beyond where you go, like even though there's people on their own way, if whatever happens started where you are, that could put a black eye on you, that could get potential lawsuits, that could get you shut the fuck down, or it could bring some street shit to your spot. So you got to delegate all of this proper, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. It goes hand in hand. Like we can't push your foot around the fact that like like being out at those hours, you're more susceptible to some bullshit going down.
Yeah. Especially when drinks are involved. Drinks and ego.
Drinks,
ego, and women.
And yeah, a little bit of money and showing off and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. They call it peacocking. Definitely. Yeah. It just leads to motherfuckers like, negative situations. So you gotta be on top of that. You gotta actually like I'm thinking beforehand, if I know my man's from so-and-so, and these niggas spend, so they gotta have their section and they shit gotta be right. But also these other wild niggas coming out from the town. You know what I mean? That's Trenton. You know, they coming out from the town. I know how they get down. They love to have fun, but they on go. But they
Yeah.
spend. So I want them in the building. I'm gonna specifically put these niggas in two different areas of the room. So we have the least likely semblance. Like you have to think about shit like that. But we have
Mm-hmm.
the least likely chance of these two groups having conflict, you
Mm.
know? Now you can't control everything, but maybe that night putting them two motherfuckers across on the other side where they really won't have much chance of interacting could have saved my whole fucking night, you
Mm.
know? But you do need like you don't want the rah-rah in there. If you know somebody just be on something, like you ain't really gotta have them in your spot. But shit could go down anytime with niggas. However, you do need in this element, they spend. They spend and they out at those times. So you gotta facilitate for that. You gotta like so if it's street niggas in there, it could potentially be some other shit in the trunk, you know? That shit ain't going down in the spot, but you know, so you gotta think about all that. You really do have people's lives in your hand. At the end of the day, it's all their own actions, but they there because of you.
Mm.
They there because of you. Another club that I used to work at was known for a lot of violence. And I had brought the initial wave of Jersey over to this spot, and my man, his little sister, she got shot over at that club. She didn't die,
Mm.
but she did get hit in the ass, and she had complications through it. And I always, in a way, felt responsible. I wasn't even there that night. By that time, I was working
Mm.
somewhere else. But people that I had taken there, I call them descendants of, because this is my man's little sister. She probably was gone when I was working there, but they more so started getting on when I started getting on at that spot when I moved on to another. And this spot was known for violence. This spot I can remember going, and there's a white sheet over a car because a nigga just got murked in the parking lot. And yo, they did not stop the club. They
Mm.
blocked off one entrance. You drive around the other side. They taped off the car and niggas parking next to a crime scene. Like that now you won't last long with that type of stuff going on. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, to that extent, even though that shit happened, they didn't close the club that night.
Yeah.
Niggas is still partying. You know what I mean? When the nigga was off in the parking lot.
So,
So, yeah, it goes hand in hand. You just gotta delegate the best you can.
and like delegating these situations, like you said, as best as you possibly can.
Yeah, there's no 1,000% nothing gonna happen.
Facts. Have you ever had to block somebody or block somebody off being able to come in the club? Like you have those, like, yeah, we know he ain't
Hell
she ain't
yeah.
allowed him.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
I'm
When
like,
he
yo,
sees the
Russ,
enemy, he gonna be
stop, man.
mad. He
Like,
gonna
I
be
can't
mad.
believe
Check
nobody.
it. I was working at a spot recently, and one of my homies, yo, I love this nigga to death. I fuck with him. It's one of my Philly niggas, and he just gets drunk as hell. You feel me? And he stays some shit, and he got in a situation. Even a situation with me, but a situation with a female too, and it was a bad look overall. You know what I'm saying? Now this is my folks. Of course, they're gonna be like, Hush, that's your man. I don't own this spot, so that's your man. Hush, your man. So I had to make a call, and I'm like, fuck it, like just dating for a couple weeks. You know what I mean? And this is only and it sucks, but you have to do this because I can't sacrifice making $4,000 a night for my one man to come and
Mhm.
bro. You know, potentially lose a contract over his actions. So I would just have security. And he was like, yo, you gotta speak for me, Hush. Like, just get the owner to let me back in, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't the owner, it was my fault.
Yeah.
I just couldn't have him in there. I couldn't have you have to do things like that. And it'll sound fucked up. And it's like they ain't really no nigga, that's my man. That's that's I'm keeping I got going on. We good?
Yeah, now you good now. You accidentally muted
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. I thought I had do not disturb. Niggas still calling. But yeah, I could like that. That could be potentially saving him from a situation, as well as protecting my business. You know, this ain't the streets. You closely connected to people who are in the streets, the same as in the rap game. You closely connected to that. You know, but this ain't that. You got to handle business a certain way. So yeah, it ain't all sweet. The only thing that's sweet is the bread. The bread,
Mm.
and the best part for me is when someone, if it's their first time there and they having a great time, I know that I did my job because I know that's that feeling, and that's what made me enjoy the nightlife so much. You feel me? So if I
Mm.
see, yeah,
Yeah, that's dope, bro.
yeah,
'Cause I definitely like look at it um like power.
uh,
How accurate do you think their depiction of that club? Not the whole, you know what I mean, everything going but
look, yo, it's kind of
the
funny, man. I'm fully aware of the show. I've heard this so many times. I hate this. It's gonna sound like, yo, people always said to me like, yo, you like ghosts, you like ghosts. I'm like,
yeah.
no, Ghost is like me because I'm real. He's fake.
Yeah.
They made him
Yeah.
up. And you really know me, and I really do it. And I
Right.
haven't seen much of the show. I know they got the criminal element, but I'm sure they glamorize a lot of things. I just never got into it. I never got into it because I hated hearing that comparison so early in the game. For real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, you
Because
saying I'm like a nigga they made up. And you really know me.
yeah.
No, he's like me. It's just, on TV they make it look a lot better. That's all. But
Well, see, with the comparison comes the negative side of it, which was he was also living a double life. So don't say I'm like that because I'm far removed from whatever you think I may have done,
that
whatever.
again, yeah. Yes, that's far beyond. Exactly, exactly. But they just, I guess, make the correlation because you use that, and now you're doing the nightclub shit. Yeah. Maybe one day I'll sit back and watch Power when it ain't popping no more.
Yeah, it's over. So
Okay.
yeah, that joint ended. But that's just really, really kind of what I think. Like, people always have this stigmatism that we have to have done something that wasn't the right way to get to what we got to do. Like, regardless if we had the money in pocket from whatever I'm saying, we still got to put that work in to get to where you are now, which is slowly but surely becoming a household name in the tri-state area. And fuck around, I don't know the plans, but maybe international, global, I don't know.
All of that definitely aspirations that I have for the future. And I appreciate that love, man. Thank you. And that pushes me to go even further to make that word even more true. But yeah, like oh man, there's so much more I would like to get into with
Yeah.
that, but I'm gonna just keep it look. For the guys to when you actually make the steps to make that transition, and we'll just leave it at the transition, you really have to put that behind you if this is going to be your main focus. Because if you're dealing with that, you can't go all the way in on this.
Mm.
And if you're dealing with, that's why I say like rappers are representations of. If a rapper really out there hustling and dealing drugs and shooting shit up and all that, like yo, that nigga really ain't got no time to be making music because he on the run and he out there trapping it. You know what I mean? So the artists are representation of the streets in that situation. You have to put those things behind you to move forward. You have to. Like you could try to do both. You could try, but it usually don't work out. You have to give your main focus. And then once you're established in one thing, once it's solidified, once you have achieved what you need to, you can move on.
Mm. That's heavy, bro. Um, I don't know how we move on from this, but like it's more prevalent now. I mean, it's always been prevalent to us because we both born like it, but it's more prevalent now than it is ever been because of the whole pandemic. But just speaking on systemic racism and police brutality, like you being in an inner city like Philly and then having to be in Willenboro and being in all these other places, like, bro, has that ever really had an effect on you or your business?
Uh yes, the racism in the sense, all right, there are certain places, and this is just nightclub business. I'm just talking nightclub business. There
Mm-hmm.
are certain places. I could tell you right down the street from Fox News, there was a club right on Third and Market and shit, a big club, and they at the time they didn't have a promoter. All right, And they were interested in bringing us in there to promote for them. Cool with the like, I think cool with the owner, cool with like the general manager or whatever. And then there's the actual manager of like the event. And she did not dig our scene. You know what I'm saying? She didn't like the way that we have presented what we do. And the bottom line, we fixing shit up and we bring people here. You know, that's all you know. But she didn't like the ass shaking and the twerking and so forth. So she went ahead. Instead of picking me, she picked someone who was of her persuasion, who did the same goddamn thing I did. They had the same type of crowd that we had, if not some of the same people, because some of our people was going over to the shit.
Right.
They just made that choice based off of their preference of who they like to deal with. You know, it goes down and it goes through. It's in every field, but in this one, you would think like the cash is king, and cash, an overwhelming amount of cash is king. If you can buy someone out of their normal standards, that's king. But if I've been in a situation where I tried to purchase a business, you know, I think they wanted like 23,000 or something like that, and I came with it, and he like, I'm gonna think about it. And then there was another person of his race, a female, who had like 17, and he fucking signed it over to her for 6,000 less, simply because, you know, they had the same nationality or the same color of skin. I'm not gonna specify which is which, but it's not a typical situation. You would be surprised, you know. And even it goes all around. It goes all around.
Facts, man. I understand it kind of, because it's like you also want to do business, especially when you're putting your money and your time into it, with people you're familiar with or comfortable with, so to speak. But it's like, bro, the older I get and the more I start to dabble in the, you know, business myself, I'm just like, look, I need the best person available for this job, bro. If you black, white, Spanish, gay, trans, you got one
Yo,
leg.
you need whoever gonna. That's if you want to run a successful business. I mean, like, yo, you can give niggas a chance. I'm not saying niggas like niggas. Give people of color a chance. You know, the opportunity. And if they qualify for it, run with it. Hell yeah. But you also can't discount that there are other nationalities and other races who might be able to do that function better. And if you want the best business, you hire the best person. You hire the person who works best with your organization.
Yeah, because I know, like, we still stuck in this time where we do want more representation of us. We do want more opportunities. But I don't want you to give me an opportunity just to have me as your mascot. Like, yo, I got this black dude.
That's
nah, I'm not there for that.
Yeah, no. I would like it based off my merit. I would like it based off of, like, okay, you think I'm capable of doing this, but I don't want to be discounted because of the color of my skin or because of the way I look. For many years, I rocked the white gold grill, you know, and then people would hear the way that I speak, expecting it to be typical nigga shit. Yeah, I go there. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those. But I also know how to present myself. And you shouldn't judge someone off of the way that they look. What is it? Not the color of the skin, the content of their character.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it should be.
And just like, you know, like pretty much piggybacking off what you said, the content of the character, I really go off of, you know, seeing as how we was quarantined and a lot of people was in the house. Like you said, it was a ghost town. Like, bro, kind of in closing, this is the last thing I wanted to ask you. What has this taught you about yourself that you may have taken for granted, or maybe that you didn't know? Like, shit, yo, maybe I got another gear in here, yo. Shit, like, I got some good people around me. You know what I'm saying?
Like, the fucking Rona, yo. Listen, man, this is your time right now. People legitimately are scared. There are motherfuckers who never. You have to. There are some people who never gonna go back to work. Like, there is not gonna be regular world that we've had. So, yo, be creative and think of the new lanes for things that are going to come. Let that be your out. There are going to be new opportunities created. There's going to be new jobs created off of what happened. So you be forward thinking, Be forward thinking and try to catch on to the next thing. Dig deep within yourself. I'm digging within myself. I have a few ideas of what I like to work out. Dig within yourself and find the next thing. This opens up. This is a new world. This is more opportunities. You
Right.
know, you went into the racism in the George Floyd situation, R.I.P. George Floyd and all the
RP.
others. But you went into that, like that changed how we're being perceived in the sense that even if I kind of feel like the white people is doing it, just the major corporation. I'm not gonna say white people. The major
Yeah.
corporations are doing it because they want to keep our money,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and not only that, they want to keep the white people's money too because there's more support for our movements. I don't want that to illegitimize what we have going on. But now you're considered, you know, a certain way if you're not with what's going on. Long story short, a whole new world is opening up. New
Yeah.
opportunities are coming. You have to find your niche. I found the extra gear within myself, you know, because I'm like, all right, well, at one point, more had opened up now, but at one point, of all the thousands of bars and nightclubs and everything in Philadelphia, there were only 6 open,
Mm.
and we were one of those 6. I feel like that showed the drive that we had. Now listen, it's subjective to each person. If you choose to come out, if you choose to, you have to be mindful of the others that you get in contact with. I'm gonna put that as the bottom line. But at the end of the
Mm.
day, niggas is tired of being in the fucking house. If I don't do it, the next man gonna get their money, you know? And at least if I'm controlling the situation, maybe we can be a little more preventative on our measures to kind of slow things down from being in that type of environment.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
so
that person during that pandemic, when they seen you stuck in the house with them, but they seen that person saying, you know, I'm gonna risk my life so that when people do start to come out, they can still have a good time. Just to
I'm
know
gonna
I
be
was, I
ahead.
was
I just
working.
wanted to be ahead of the game. I
People
wanted
gonna
to be ahead
remember
of the
that.
game, yes. And a legit, I say that we were essential too. Because you have to like, yo, being stuck in the house and stuck on quarantine, it can make you very sad. It can make you depressed. It
Yeah.
makes you moody. It can make you consume more alcohol or consume more drugs because you have less to do. We are a relief. We're not meant to be cooped up and stay in there
Yeah.
and breathing stale air. You need to breathe fresh air and get
Yeah.
sunlight as well as moonlight. You know, where that's the nature of us. So you have to be out, and I just took it as that, and I'm gonna take that opportunity if I'm willing to do it. And the people who work with me, yo, if they had ever once said like, yo, I'm not fucking with it because I'm nervous about it, and early in the game, some of them were, but then they seen like, you know, we've been, I've been cool, we've been tested, nobody's sick. I'm not sick,
Mm.
they're not sick around us, so we continue to progress, and more people started to feel the same way, and we back popping.
Right, man. That's heavy, bro. So, like I
Yes,
said,
yes,
bro,
yes. Find that within
everybody.
yourself, yo. The if I could just throw anything last out there, yo,
Mhm.
just people, yo, focus on you and be the best you that you can be. There are things that
Facts.
you cannot control that you don't need to waste energy worrying about. Once I
Mhm.
was able to I wish I learned this earlier, so I'm telling y'all now. Once I was able to let these things go, I was able to move forward in my life and my career and be more successful and more open-minded and free thinking. You have to loose yourself from whatever it may be, whether it be a person or a situation or a dependency, whatever. Move forward, and let's get up. You know what I'm saying?
Facts, bro. My
Yo,
boy, man.
brother,
I
I
appreciate you
appreciate you so
slide
much for
through.
having me, man. This is my
Yeah,
first ever interview. I feel like I should do more because I got a lot to say, I guess. But
bro. Funny.
I appreciate you for being the first one to bring this out in me. I can't wait to
Mhm.
see it, and I also want to share it. You can also follow us at buckset.ent underscore on Facebook, Buckset ENT. Um,
Mhm.
thanks for everything, brother.
You
I
got
love you, man.
Instagram for the clubs too.
Oh, all right. Well, actually, because we are a private social club, you can DM us for the address through the buckset.ent underscore on
Gotcha.
Instagram or on Facebook. Yeah. You know, we still have certain guidelines that we want to go by. We are available and we are open, but we just like to contact direct because
Mhm.
for public settings, it's technically illegal, and I don't want to get fined. And a lot of businesses aren't going to risk it. There's Golf and Social on Delaware Ave. That's a major place right across from the casino. The city just shut them down and hit them with like damn near $100,000 in fines for not abiding by the social distancing rules. So that's why we keep it very private.
That's smart. And that's
Hell
just
yeah.
adaptation
I'm
to
gonna
what
be
the world
around
is
after this.
bringing you. You feel me?
I'm gonna be around after the Rona world. You know what I'm saying? So we got to prepare for that now, and you got to cover your ass.
My boy. You already know me. I'm your boy Karan, the host of the World.
Pull up,
You
man.
already know.
Yo, I appreciate it so much, man.
God bless, bro.
Thank you.